Welcome back, everybody. This is Rich Giordano.
And I'm Michael Roser.
And this is Third Phase UFO Report. Got another unbelievable report, Michael. Again, you can tell I'm excited. I can't contain it. But it was on Third Phase of Moon last night about this Google Earth find. And I don't know how it's been out there for 5.5 years, but it's Stargate. What do you want to say real quick before I play the intro with Blake?
Absolutely fascinating find, and I am also as surprised at how old this actually is. But, lest we not forget, sometimes these are sightings and anomalies that we look at in the moment and then maybe shuffle under the rug with the host of other ones that fit the same description for hopefully a later review.
Well, with that said, here we go. I'm going to press play, and guys, I'm excited to watch this again. It's just, it's amazing what there might be a Stargate out there. Here we go.
What would be the most efficient way of travel if we had the technology? Well, it's known as the Stargate. Does it exist only in the movie fantasy world, or is it in reality? Well, just recently I received an email that's unprecedented of what appears to be a star map that reveals strategic spots all across the planet in regards to possible travel through these stargates, wormholes, whatever you call it. Does it exist? Apparently, this map was given to a friend of a friend 6 years ago, and just after we shared our video in regards to the underground tunnels underneath America, I received this document just a day ago. People are watching right now Third Phase Moon, and the information is coming in very fast. And our panel will be going over some of the evidence that we're going to be presenting tonight, including some incredible imagery of what just came in moments ago in regards to more Stargates spotted next to the infamous base known as Area 51. The Google imagery reveals what looks to be some kind of Stargate, archway, and some strange buildings. Could this be the power vessels that charge up the Stargate? If there were to be any Stargates that exist, you would think that it would be at Area 51. Is this the evidence that we're looking at right now? Will Google imagery remove these images? Right now, we're sharing it to the world, and it's unbelievable what we're looking at.
This is unbelievable. I'm still excited. We're talking Stargates here, man. Go from point A to point B in a flash. What do you think about what Blake just said here?
This is absolutely amazing, and I have to agree that there must be some answer in the way of the structure itself with these 4 knobs that are essentially just kind of poking out of the earth there. But again, as he mentioned, we see this other construct that's like an archway. How would this align in certain ways? I wonder, in terms of energy and electricity and so forth. But that being said, one of the things that I find very fascinating is that this is actually located at Area 51, and we've had our eye on this location for quite some time. Would we have the same response if this was perhaps found on a different part of land? I would like to think that we would at least put it under scrutiny. But again, the fact that this is found on an area of already, some scrutiny, Area 51, I think it lends more power to the find.
It does. If it was somewhere else, it would have to be, like, let's say we found it on Easter Island. That would still have major implications regarding how Easter Island has all those Moabs there on, those big tall statues. How'd they get there, and where'd all the palm trees go and whatnot? It's really, it's almost magical. And I say that as, how did it get unnoticed this long? It was put up 5-6 years ago. Does it go underground when it's not in use? Did we actually see something that came up and just at the right time the satellite would be overhead? No, I don't think that either, because don't you think if it was secret technology that they would know where all the satellites are that could take a picture of it? So I don't know, man. And also, we're not looking at the actual structures. We're looking at computer imagery of what Google Earth imagery makes out of shadows. It reconstructs it to what they think it looks like. So although we've seen Google Earth do this with many buildings and other things like that, they've been accurate almost every time. So I think this is accurate. I think we're looking at some sort of reactor for a Stargate. That's just ridiculous. I can't believe I just said that.
Well, I mean, when it's right in front of us and we don't have a certain other explanation, and yet there are other factors that point that way, how can you not consider it?
And I also wanted to add, a quarter of a mile away from this supposed Tesla coil-looking reactor for a Stargate thing are other 4 balls that look just like that, and they're on towers. And I'm not sure if when they turn it all on, we're seeing some sort of light show that Tesla could only dream about. Well, I think we pointed out here, so let's continue with the video.
There has been speculation that there's been Stargates that has been created right here on Earth, but then there's speculation as well that they're actually found within our solar system. We actually have a Google image from Mars, actually, that resembles something that we found that looks exactly like the Stargate. Are these representations that was basically alien reverse engineered that is being used right here on our own planet? Because some of this evidence is kind of mind-blowing. We got this information yesterday, and you see this grid pattern going across the whole entire planet. It seems like they're sectioned and they cross exactly where they need to be to create kind of this like pattern, a grid of Stargates. If that's the truth, what we're looking at is fascinating. Looking at this Google imagery right there at Groom Lake, so close to it, the facility, this hidden base that supposedly has just been revealed just about 4 years ago. First time President Obama actually named Area 51 is the first time ever. Now we're looking at these kind of architectural designs of a possible Stargate. What I'm looking at are these kind of domes, and they kind of look to me like small nuclear power plants. Could this be the engine that powers these high energy portals or wormholes? That's what it's going to take. It's going to take extreme power, and this might be what we're looking at right here.
It does show a lot of cool coordinates. One of them I mentioned, Machu Picchu. You've got Egypt on there. You've got, here it is, South Africa, Johannesburg, Easter Island, Hawaii, Chihuahua. Then it says wormholes here, wormhole over there on the other side of the... I mean, this is unbelievable. Are we able to go from point to point in a blink of an eye?
And who's to say...
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's it.
I was going to say, and who's to say that some of these wormholes don't lead directly outside of our planet in some way, shape, or form, or perhaps into another dimension? I mean, you and I can sit here and talk, but we don't really know how they work. And that being said, if this is actually an accurate map of something that is out there, there are people who do.
I think Doc was coming up next. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get everybody in here, but let's see.
Looking at this Google Earth image is quite compelling. The objects that are around look like balls. First thought would be a radar system, which they have things similar that look similar to that around the world for pilots. It helps them with GPS locations. And the fact that there's multiples lined up side by side kind of scratches that theory in my mind. The fact that they're all together makes me wonder if possibly it might be a power plant for the larger structure at the end of the row, which I think is like 15 feet across, I think 5 meters across. So it's a decent size. You could walk through it. And what if these towers are actually generators to power this possible Stargate? Now, if we look back, the last episode we did, we had this one map with very strategic lines. It was done by either an architect or a draftsman. And it showed all the locations of these different underground bases. And one at the top was Groom Lake. And it was the only one with a symbol of a triangle in the circle. The rest did not. So it made me, when I think triangles, I think Stargates for some reason. It's just the way I think. But to see that, and then now we get this map showing, I think, 25 Stargates around the world, and one of them's at Groom Lake.
Yeah, I want to stop that there because I wanted to hear what you have to say, obviously, but I don't want to forget what I'm saying, and that right there is amazing that he made that connection. That's why Third Phase of Moon has us on, each one of us, because we all think just a little differently. What do you think about that connection?
I mean, it's something that maybe only Doc could have come up with in respect to his expertise and knowledge. It's just a fantastic detail that he pulled out of that. Honestly, it's not something I saw first off. What
did you see?
Well, I was connecting it more with the key of the map and some of these areas that we had already kind of some suspicion that they were active in this way, and then kind of reveling over that, but then seeing how they connected to other places that we wouldn't have normally expected to have that sort of activity. So, that's the way I took it personally. How about yourself, Rich?
Well, I'll take it a little differently, because I did make the connection. I thought, and I saw all those places having had UFO sightings, having had very mysterious circumstances, mass sightings at almost all of these. Giza, Machu Picchu, Easter Island is known, connection maybe with alien technology. All of these places seem to have this technology. We can't figure out how they did it. And maybe now the puzzle's a little bit clear. Some more pieces dropped in the blank spaces, and we're just filling them in. That's all. Anyway, next, I think. All right. I want to go back to Brent and Blake. Let's go see what Brent's saying. It looks like he's got something important. Something's on his mind.
Yeah, it was late last night. We received an email from Yabba Dabba Doo, and we're kind of like looking at some of his information he was sending in, and then this caught our eye right here. It's mind-blowing. We do see the artist representation that Google is trying to kind of create its own pattern. It kind of creates these little generic CGI imagery, but then again, we're looking at this and it has architecture. You can see the angles of whatever this doorway is. I think Google might be interpreting something that's really there on the ground.
I have to say we are getting a lot of great stuff being sent into Third Phase of Moon, and we just got those documents and maps the other day, and now we have more coming in. As we see from this one map that has all of these ley lines, it shows all the different locations around the world where there are supposedly Stargates. And it looks like Australia happens to be one country doesn't seem to have one. I mean, there is one offshore, but not on Australia. But everybody else seems to be getting one or two.
So I wanted to stop Doc right there because he mentioned the map. And I really want to hear what you think this map is telling us.
Honestly, I think this map is exactly what it says it is. I think we're actually seeing the intersection of the ley lines and how those, work with some of the Stargates that they're, proposing to be here. This is incredible. And I don't even think that we understand the impact of having something like this in the public hands at large in this moment, because we've just discovered this. And at least if there are other people who knew about this, I don't think it was very many. But now this is out there, people can find it and they can interpret it and analyze it themselves. What do you think about this, Rich? I mean, we're seeing even the names of certain locations. And, for example, we see up in the top left here, it says wormholes in New York City. What do you think about this map?
I happen to look at the same thing. And yeah, I think this is very interesting when it says wormholes and it's like right at New York area and Bermuda Triangle. So then I think, okay, all right, I know for a fact the Bermuda Triangle doesn't have any more sunken boats and missing airplanes than, I guess, other large bodies of water around the Earth. If anybody's ever done the research, you can see that it's just about the same for its size and how many vessels go through there. So I don't know. But if this is true, the implications are mind-boggling, because wormhole to me sounds like we're going a long way in a short amount of time. You're folding space. You're literally, you fold it and then it connects through a wormhole. So you're saving yourself literally however many years it would take you to get there. It's possible we might be looking at a map that was made because we have the technology to actually do it. But I want another map, Michael. I want to see a map of returning, incoming. I want to see something say alien visitation center, or you know what I mean, like craft,
Yeah.
inbound craft, off-world vehicles, something other than just seeing Machu Picchu and things we're used to talking about that might have had alien interaction. So to me, I am hoping this is real. Just because it's got a lot of dots and words on it really doesn't sell me 100%. I hate to be that guy, but just because it says wormhole and, whatever, parallel wormholes, that's a good one. Parallel wormholes. What do you think that means on there? It only says it once.
I mean, maybe these are two wormholes that, again, as simply as it sounds, run parallel to each other in perhaps their location or destination, or maybe there's some more interdimensional implication in that. It's very curious that it is only listed once, and these are some terms that we loosely use in our community, but for us to see this written on a map that seems to have some sort of certain intelligence behind it is absolutely stunning.
I don't see, and correct me if oh, there it is. I was looking for China, but yeah, there it is all the way to the right. Yeah, it's got Tibet on there. I mean, anybody can just look at this and see everything for themselves. So let's close this out because we're going to be a little redundant on what everybody continues to say about the maps. Anything else you want to add that maybe it's on your mind still about this?
Not necessarily with the maps, other than I can't wait to see what unfolds, all puns intended. But back on to the Google Earth images that we saw, I thought it was interesting that Doc mentioned the radar and then, somewhat quickly dismissed it, because it made me think, well, maybe these nodules are some sort of orgone energy conductors. I mean, there's very little that we know about it in the way of science today.
What's an orgone energy? What is that? I never heard of that.
So orgone energy essentially can be divided into two different parts. We might be able to call one negative, one positive in today's terms. And essentially, positive orgone energy is, according to Wilhelm Reich, was a very natural, creative energy that existed within us all. And so did this negative orgone energy. And the balance between the two personally would affect that individual. But in the way of using it in science, and for example, they would bust weather in terms of using radio songs back in the 50s, where they'd send these devices that would emit a certain amount of orgone energy, either positive or negative, to create storms or bust them up. So I'm wondering if we're looking at some sort of governmental doppelganger, in a sense, to weather busting or creating, perhaps looking at this. But then again, we have the structure that's there. And of course, this is, from Google Earth, and these are images that are representative of the possible architecture that's there. But could these possibly be some ruins even? We don't know.
Well,
we don't know.
I don't like it that it's been on Google Earth all this time and I haven't heard about it, but it's out now. Third phase of Moon has, the way they receive these things, they put out one story, right? And then like the underground secret, whatever you call it, tunnels. Then somebody says, hey, I saw your video. Here's what I have. Here's what I found. And that's what's happening. We're seeing people, and maybe they feel now that it's out there, maybe they can share what they have and feel less stress about what they were going to do with it. Like, who do I go to? Like, a lot of people don't know that. Look, you go right here. Third phase of Moon is here for the public. And that's what we're doing as part of the panel, the team. We're not experts. People keep saying it, Michael. Look at these experts. They think they know everything. We know nothing. We know what you know. We know what we're reading. We're just really good at delivering it, I guess. Maybe that's why.
Well said.
I think that's it. And when you have the largest UFO YouTube channel, you do have a lot of perks that come with it. Like, people know you, so they feel like, well, let's give it to the #1 UFO channel in the world, and they can give it out to the most people. Well, anything can happen with third phase, and we're showing that again. And not only that, we've got a lot more stuff coming out that is just going to blow you away. I don't know. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's as compelling as this, Michael. It's really unbelievable. And what else can you say? A Stargate, secret underground military, what are they? Underground tunnel systems that may have to work with aliens. Doesn't get any better. I mean, really. I mean, it does. It's going to. That's what's scary. It would just start. All right. Tell everybody where we can find you on YouTube.
Well, you guys can find me at Dark Hour Paranormal or right here on Third Face. Rich, where can we find you?
GUFON, Greatest UFO Network. It's GUFON right here, Monday through Saturday on YouTube between 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Michael, as we always say here and there and everywhere, if you ain't looking up, you ain't looking out. So keep your eyes to the skies. Good night, everybody.